there, bookish friends. My name's Gabby. Thanks for stopping by my channel, Lefty Reads. So unless you just discovered BookTube like yesterday, you probably know that there was this little event called Booktube-A-Thon that happened last week. And I participated in it. It's an event hosted by Ariel Bissett, and you read books and do challenges, and it's all good fun. I really enjoyed myself, and I thought that all the work put into it was totally incredible, and it created this wonderful event, and I'm so glad that I took part in it. And I got quite a bit of reading done, so that's good. I had actually planned to do a vlog thing over the whole week and then like edit it and post it, but turns out I'm pretty horrible at vlogging, and also I looked like crap in all of the videos pretty much because I was literally just lounging around in my pajamas all week, and so I decided not to go that route. So I'll just give you an update, give you my wrap up and all my opinions right here, right now. So day one of Booktube-A-Thon, I started reading at midnight my time, and I started with Little Black Dresses, Little White Lies by Laura Stampler. I know that night I got through a really good portion of it because I have this thing where I stay up all night and then I sleep in till like 3 o'clock of the next morning. Afternoon. So I got a pretty good portion of it read that night, and then I finished it the next day. And by the way, Little Black Dresses, Little White Lies counted toward my book with yellow on the cover. So I ended up giving Little Black Dresses, Little White Lies 4 stars. It was exactly what I expected it to be, and it was done very well. It was quick, it was fun and clever, and it was chick flicky. I really enjoyed reading about the different New York City adventures that happened, and I really liked the character development that took place. If you'd like to know more of my thoughts and see a deeper review, I have reviewed the book for my blog, so I will leave a link down below in the dingle hopper to that. And then after that, I read Attachments by Rainbow Rowell, which counts as my book from a favorite author challenge. I really enjoyed this one as well. I rated it 4 stars. I thought that once again, Rainbow Rowell was very clever in her writing. She was so much fun. Also very realistic and relatable. I loved getting to know 2 of the characters just through their email. I took a star off because I thought that in the beginning, Lincoln, the main character, was a bit mopey for my tastes, and then I also found the ending to be kind of rushed, but by the time I closed the book I was feeling just really good about life, and it made me really happy. Again, if you'd like to see more of my thoughts, I have a review on my blog, and I'll leave the link down below. After that, I read Paper Towns by John Green, and this one counted for the Read a Book and Watch Its Movie Adaptation Challenge. I read it, and then that night at like 3 o'clock in the morning, I actually watched the movie. I'm still a little torn on what I want to rate this book. I think it's 4 or 4.5 stars. There are parts that I found to be kind of slow, but I still thought the writing itself was incredible. I really enjoyed Quentin's voice. I enjoyed the friendships. I thought the characters were very unique and distinct. I know a lot of people hated the ending of this book, but I actually kind of liked it. I don't see what was so bad about it, but that's just me. The movie adaptation of it I found less impressive. I thought that the movie really just took all the depth out of the story. I thought the timeline of it was no. I thought the adventure in the beginning with Margot and Q was very rushed, and so you kind of did not really get the depth of that experience and the way that it affected Q and the way it affected Margot's relationship with him. I loved Ben's character so much, and I think I liked him more in the movie than I did in the book just because he was so freaking funny. And there were some really hilarious lines and things that happened in the movie, but I just thought all in all, the way it was done was kind of, it took the specialness out of it. It was just another fun teenage movie. It didn't really stand out as anything unique to me. Then I started to read You Before Anyone Else by Julie Cross and Mark Perini, I think is how you pronounce his name. I still have not decided exactly what I want to rate that one either, but I think I'm leaning towards 3.5. It was just kind of one of those like trashy, it wasn't trashy, but you know, it was one of those romance books that was kind of cliche, it had tropes in it, but it was still like really addicting, and I got really sucked in, and I read it all in like one day, I think. But it didn't really like stick with me at all. I don't even remember the characters' names, so that's probably a sign. But I just really was enjoying it while I was reading it. It just really sucked me in, and I couldn't stop. I just wanted to figure out what happened to the characters. That didn't really count toward a challenge. That was just one of the extra books I had included in my TBR if I were to accomplish the Read 7 Books challenge, which I did not. And then the night that I finished that, I started to read Vicious by V.E. Schwab, which I do own, and I have no idea where it is at the moment. I seem to have lost it somehow, which has never actually happened to me before, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. But this counts toward the challenge of books that I discovered through Booktube, which I didn't really discover it through Booktube, but Booktube is what made me buy it and want to read it, so I count it. Again, I think I'm giving this 4 stars. I thought that the writing was indeed very beautiful. I thought that the concept was fantastic. I thought the execution of it, because it's not necessarily the most original premise, but the way it was executed was marvelous, and I felt like I'd never read anything like this book before. I thought the characters were so complex and interesting, and I became really attached to them, and Victor really grew on me, and I just thought his relationship with Sydney was the most adorable thing on the planet. I did think at some points that it got really slow, and I wasn't necessarily a fan of the way it kept jumping around from character to character. I think that was supposed to like build up anticipation, but for me it just didn't. It just kind of felt almost exhausting. But I did really enjoy it, and I definitely recommend it. Actually, once I finished, I texted my friend and I was like, hey, you need to read this book, because I did really enjoy it. After that, I started to read Wicked by Gregory Maguire, which was going to count toward the book that was older than me, but I got 56 pages in, and I just couldn't. I knew there was no way I'd be finishing this for the readathon because it was way harder to read than I expected, and I was just so like, what the fuck is even going on in this book? And I do eventually want to finish it because in a way it was interesting, but I didn't want to finish it for the Booktube-A-Thon. So after 56 pages, I decided to set it aside, and then instead of reading something else that day, I decided to do some blog stuff and whatnot. I feel like this book really slowed me down on the readathon, and part of the reason that I did not read 7 books in 7 days. And then after that, I started reading The Probability of Miracles by Wendy Wonder, and I didn't finish this in time. I got to 140 pages before the readathon ended. So that's what I read in the course of a week, which is much more than I'd usually read. It ended up being 2,008 pages total, which averages out to about 287 pages a day, which honestly is kind of like a book a day. Even though I didn't read 7 books, I read enough pages to be considered reading 7 books in 7 days. But the only 2 reading challenges that I did not complete were the read 7 books in 7 days and to read a book older than me. I participated in 2 of the video challenges, Book Dominoes and Book Spine Poetry. I will leave links to those videos down below if you'd like to check them out. And I participated in 2 of the Instagram challenges, which were to take a picture of your book with its landscape, which basically means to take a picture of the book and like match a setting to it. My book took place in New York, and I don't live in New York, I live in Arkansas. But I have this canvas with like a New York skyscraper or whatever on it, and so I took a picture with that, and it wasn't my greatest picture ever, but I just wanted to participate in the challenge. I also participated in the favorite book quote challenge, and I used a quote from Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell, and the quote was, "She looked like art, and art wasn't supposed to look good. It was supposed to make you feel something." So that's my wrap up. I would have gotten this to y'all sooner, but I spent the days after Booktube-A-Thon just kind of decompressing a little bit. I worked on my blog, I finished The Probability of Miracles, I did a little bit of writing, and then yesterday I went to Kansas City with my best friend, and we saw Kian Lawley and JC Kalen on their tour, which was so much fun. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will leave links to reviews down below in the Dingle Hopper. I will also leave links to my social media, which includes Twitter, Instagram, Goodreads, and my blog. Go follow me or add me or whatever, because I'd love to like talk more with you. In the comments, tell me about your Booktube-A-Thon experience. Tell me how much you read, what your favorite book you read during Booktube-A-Thon was. It's really hard for me to say what my favorite was. I really enjoyed all the books that I read in full. I had a bunch of like 3.5, 4 stars. It was really a good readathon for me. Anyway, I digress. Let me know down in the comments what you read, what your favorite book was, all that jazz, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, bye bookish friends.